They shared everything, including their crush on the same boy. But when love turns to jealousy, how far will Ada and Bimpe go to win his heart? Let's find out in this beautiful story. Ada and Bimpe had been inseparable since their first day at Victory High School. Both girls had immediately clicked, sharing the same interests, dreams, and even the same favorite snacks, puff puff, with a bottle of Fanta. Theirs was the kind of friendship everyone admired. Teachers often remarked on their closeness, calling them the dynamic dude. Together, they navigated the ups and downs of secondary school life, from late-night study session to sneaking out for weekend parties. As the years passed, their bond only grew stronger. They were always there for each other through thick and thin. Ada, with her bubble personality, was the life of the party, while Bimpe was the more reserved, thoughtful one. Their contrasting qualities make their friendship even more remarkable. Ada would draw Bimpe out of her shell, and Bimpe would grant Ada whenever she got too carried away. It was a perfect balance. Everything changed when they both encountered Chidi, the new boy in school. Chidi was everything a teenage girl would dream of. Tall, handsome, and charming, with a smile that would melt the coldest heart. His arrival at Victory High School created quite a stir, and soon it became clear that both Ada and Bimpe had developed a crush on him. Initially, it was something they joked about. After all, they had shared crushes before, and it had never been an issue. But this time, something was different. Chidi wasn't just another boy. He was someone special, and both girls knew it. They started to notice each other's interest in him more accurately. Ada, always the bold one, made the first move. She struck up conversation with Chidi during breaks and made sure to sit near him in class. Bimpe watched silently, feeling a pang of jealousy but pushing it aside. Ada was her best friend after all. As the weeks went by, the tension between the two friends began to build. Bimpe couldn't help but notice how much time Ada was spending with Chidi. It wasn't just during school hours. They were texting late into the night, sharing jokes and stories that Bimpe was no longer a part of. The distance between the two friends grew wider with each passing day, and Bimpe started feeling left out and lonely. Bimpe tried to focus on her studies, telling herself that this was just a phase and that Ada would come back to her once the novelty of Chidi wore off. But deep down, she knew things had changed. Ada seemed happier around Chidi than she had ever been with Bimpe, and that realization hurt more than she wanted to admit. For the first time in their friendship, Bimpe felt threatened. One afternoon, as Bimpe was heading to the library, she overheard a conversation that shattered her heart. Ada and Chidi were talking in hushed tone, their voice full of excitement. They were planning a date for the weekend. Bimpe felt a wave of betrayal wash over her. She had assumed that even if Ada liked Chidi, she would never go so far as to date him without talking to her first. That evening, Bimpe confronted Ada. "How could you, Ada?" she asked, her voice trembling with anger and hurt. "You knew I liked him too. How could you go behind my back like this?" Ada, taken aback, tried to explain. "I didn't think it was a big deal, Bimpe. We've liked boys before, and it never came between us. Why is this any different. But Bimpe couldn't accept that this time. It felt personal, like Ada had chosen Chidi over their friendship. The argument escalated quickly. Both girls said things they didn't mean, words that cut deep. Ada accused Bimpe of being jealous and possessive, while Bimpe accused Ada of being selfish and inconsiderate. By the end of the night, their friendship, which had once seemed unbreakable, was hanging by a thread. Neither of them slept well that night, their minds racing with anger, guilt, and confusion. The next day at school, the atmosphere between them was ice. They avoided each other, neither willing to be the first to apologize. Their classmates noticed the change and began to whisper. How could Ada and Bimpe, who had been friends for years, suddenly start acting like strangers? The once dynamic dude was now on the brink of collapse, and everyone could see it. As the day turned into weeks, the rift between Ada and Bimpe only deepened. Chidi, oblivious to the damage he had caused, continued to enjoy the attention from both girls. He liked Ada's boldness and Bimpe's quiet calm, and he couldn't decide which one he preferred. His indecision only fueled the tension between the two former best friends, each trying to outdo the other in winning his affection. Rumors started spreading around the school. Some said Ada had stolen Chidi from Bimpe, while others claimed that Bimpe was being overdramatic and possessive. The truth was somewhere in between, but neither girls cared about what others thought. They were too consumed by their own pain and anger to worry about the gossip. Their grades began to suffer as the conflict between them escalated. Bimpe, who had always been the top student in their class, found it hard to concentrate. Her thoughts were constantly on Ada and Chidi, and the betrayal she felt every time she saw them together. Ada too was struggling. She missed Bimpe, but her pride wouldn't let her admit it. She threw herself into her budding relationship with Chidi, hoping it could fill the void left by her broken friendship. As their final exam approached, the tension between Ada and Bimpe reached its peak. They were both nominated for the position of head girl, a role they had both dreamed of since their first year at Victory High School in the past. They could have celebrated together, but now it was just another competition. The election became a bitter rivalry, with both girls determined to win not just for the title, but to prove something to each other. The campaign turned nasty. Bimpe's supporters spread rumors about Ada, saying she was only interested in boys and didn't care about the school. Ada's supporter retaliated by accusing Bimpe of being too strict and unfriendly. The whole school was caught up in the drama, and the once strong bond between Ada and Bimpe was now nothing more than a distant memory. The day of election arrived, and the tension was palpable. Ada and Bimpe avoided each other's gaze as they stood on opposite sides of the assembly hall, waiting for the result to be announced. When the headmistress finally stepped up to ponder and read out the name of the new head girl, there was a collective gasp. It wasn't Ada or Bimpe who had won, but a third candidate, someone who had slayed out of the drama entirely. The shock of the election results left Ada and Bimpe reeling for a moment. The rivalry between them faded as they both proceeded to lose. But instead of coming together, the disappointment only deepened the divides. Each blamed the other for their defeat, convinced that if they hadn't been so distracted by their feud, they would have won. In the days that followed, the hostility between Ada and Bimpe reached new heights. They couldn't stand to be in the same room, and their mutual friends were forced to choose sides. It wasn't long before the entire school was divided into Team Ada and Team Bimpe, with each side determined to outdo the other. The rivalry began to take a toll on both girls. Ada, who had always been confident and outgoing, started to withdraw. She felt isolated even among her supporters, and the joy she once found in school was gone. Bimpe, on the other hand, became more bitter and resentful. She threw herself into her studies, determined to prove that she didn't need Ada or Chidi to succeed. As the weeks turned into months, Chidi began to feel the weight of the situation. He had never intended to come between Ada and Bimpe, and he was starting to regret his action. He noticed how the rivalry was affecting both girls, and he felt guilty for being the cause of their pain, but by then it was too late to fix things. The damage has been done. Chidi tried to distance himself from the situation, but it only made things worse. Ada and Bimpe both interpreted his action as a sign that he was losing interest in them, and their competition intensified. They started going to even greater lengths to win his affection, doing things they never would have considered before. The day during a particular heated argument, Ada said something that she instantly regretted. "You are just jealous because he chose me over you." She spat at Bimpe. The words hung in the air, heavy with their meaning. Bimpe's eyes filled with tears, and for the first time Ada saw the depth of pain she had caused. Bimpe didn't respond. She just turned and walked away, leaving Ada standing there, feeling a mix of guilt and anger. Ada knew she had crossed a line, but her pride couldn't let her apologize. Bimpe, on the other hand, felt like she had lost everything: her best friend, her self-respect, and the boy she cared about. Bimpe started avoiding Ada altogether, taking different routes to class and eating lunch in the library instead of cafeteria. She couldn't bear to see Ada and Chidi together, even for a distance. The sight of them laughing or talking made her heart ache, and she needed to distance herself from the source of her pain. Chidi noticed Bimpe's accent, began to worry. He missed her quiet presence and the way she always listened to him without judgment. Despite his growing feeling for Ada, he couldn't shake the guilt he felt for pushing Bimpe away. He decided to talk to her, hoping to make amends, but Bimpe refused to engage. She was done with Chidi and Ada, or so she tried to convince herself. As the time went on, the school year began to wind down, with final exam looming. Most students were focused on their studies, but the tension between Ada and Bimpe remained. Even their teachers noticed the change, commenting on how the two girls, who had once been inseparable, were now like strangers. It was a sad transformation, and it affected everyone around them. One afternoon, as Bimpe was packed up her things after school, she found a note slipped into her locker. It was from Ada. Bimpe hesitated before opening it, unsure if she wanted to hear what Ada had to say. But curiosity got the better part of her. As she unfolded the paper, the note was short, just a few sentences, but it was enough to bring tears to Bimpe's eyes. "I'm sorry," the note began. "I never meant to hurt you. Can we talk?" Bimpe stared at the words, her heart pounding. She had been waiting for an apology, but now that it was here, she wasn't sure how to feel. Part of her wanted to forgive Ada, to go back to the way things were, but another part of her was still deeply hurt. She knew that even if they talk, things would never be the same. Bimpe decided to meet Ada after school the next day. They sat under the old mango tree where they used to hang out during breaks. But this time, there was no laughter, no easy conversation. The air was thick with tension as they both struggled to find the right words. Ada was the first to speak. "I am really sorry, Bimpe. I was so caught up in everything that I didn't realize how much I was hurting you." Bimpe looked at Ada, searching her face for sincerity. "You really hurt me, Ada," she said quietly. "You choose Chidi over our friendship, and I don't know if I can ever trust you again." Ada's eyes filled with tears. "I didn't mean to choose him over you, Bimpe. I don't know what I was thinking. I miss you so much. Can't we at least try to fix things?" Bimpe felt a lump in her throat as she listened to Ada. She missed her too, more than she could put into words. But the betrayal still stung, and she wasn't sure if she could just forgive and forget. "I miss you too, Ada," she admitted, "but I don't know if things can ever go back to the same way they were." Ada nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. "I get it. I just want you to know that I am sorry, and I will do whatever it takes to make things right." They sat in silence for a while, but lost in their thoughts. Eventually, Bimpe sighed. "Maybe we can start over, but it's going to take time. I need to know that I can trust you again." Ada nodded eagerly, relieved that Bimpe was at least open to the idea of reconciliation. "I understand, and I'm willing to wait as long as it takes. You are my best friend, Bimpe. I don't want to lose you." Over the next few weeks, Ada and Bimpe slowly began to rebuild their friendship. It wasn't easy, and there were times when the old wounds would resurface, causing tension between them. But they both made an effort to be honest with each other, to communicate more openly about their feelings. Ada even distanced herself from Chidi, realizing that her friendship with Bimpe was more important. Chidi, sensing the shift in Ada's behavior, tried to reach out to her, but she gently explained that she needed to focus on repairing her relationship with Bimpe. Chidi was disappointed, but he respected her decision. He had never wanted to come between them, and he hoped that one day they could all be friends again. As the final exam approached, Ada and Bimpe find themselves working together once more. They spent long hours in the library, helping each other study and revising their notes. It felt good to be on the same side again, and for the first time in months, they both started to feel like things might actually get better. On the last day of exam, Ada and Bimpe sat together under the mango tree, just like old times. They were both exhausted from the stress of studying, but there was a sense of relief in the air. "We made it," Ada said with a tired smile. Bimpe nodded, smiling back. "Yeah, we did." For a moment, it felt like nothing had changed between them. But as the final weeks of school played out, both girls knew that things were different now. Their friendship had been tested in a way that it had never been before, and while they were closer than they had been in months, there was still a lingering sense of loss. The innocence of their bond had been shattered, and they both knew that something could never be fully repaired. Graduation day arrived, and with it came a mixture of emotions. Ada and Bimpe stood side by side as they received their certificate. Their smile bittersweet. They had achieved so much together, but their final year had been marred by conflict and regret. As they posed for picture with their families, they both knew that this was the end of an era. After the ceremony, as they were packing up their things, Chidi approached them. He looked nervous, unsure of how to address the tension that still lingered between them. "Hey, I just wanted to say I'm sorry for everything. I never wanted to come between you two." Ada and Bimpe exchanged a glance before turning back to Chidi. "It's okay," Bimpe said, her voice calm. "We've all made mistakes." Chidi nodded, relieved that they didn't hold a grudge against him. "I'm really going to miss you both," he said, his voice sincere. Maybe we can all stay in touch, you know, as friends. Ada and Bimpe smiled at the idea, but they both knew that things would never be the same. Still, it was a nice thought, and they appreciated the gesture. As they walked out of the school gate for the last time, Ada and Bimpe felt a sense of closure. They had been through so much together, and while their friendship had changed, it wasn't completely lost. They had learned valuable lessons about trust, loyalty, and the complexity of relationships. And even though the future was uncertain, they both felt a sense of hope. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, if you like this story, please do well to like, share and subscribe for more interesting story. Bye. Love you.